Imagine you're in your final year of med school, right? You're about to have a baby. And at your 20-week scan, you find out there are severe abnormalities, like life-threatening. That's what happened to Danny Math in Texas. And it's a story that really shows what's happening with Texas abortion laws, like the unintended consequences, you know?
Yeah.
So we're going to dive deep into that today. We're looking at this Investor article. It's called Flash Update, The Unintended Consequences of Texas's Abortion Laws. Came out this year.
It really shows how complicated all this is.
Yeah.
It goes beyond just the talking points and all the heat around abortion.
Right. So, okay. First, the laws in Texas. There are two big ones, right?
Okay.
First, there's SB 8. Passed back in 2021. It bans abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy, which, I mean, a lot of women don't even know they're pregnant at 6 weeks.
Right. That's key. The timing is huge. And also, no exceptions for rape or incest. So it really limits what women can do, especially, in such tough situations already.
Yeah. And then there's how it's enforced. It's not like state officials are going after people, right? It's private citizens can sue anyone who helps a woman get an abortion.
So like anyone.
Yeah. After 6 weeks. I mean, and get this.
Yeah.
They get a $10,000, quote, bounty if they win.
Oh, wow. So it's like a whole system, almost like encouraging people to, turn each other in almost.
Yeah. It creates this whole atmosphere of fear,
Yeah, for sure.
Then in 2023, Texas passed another law, even stricter.
Right.
It bans abortion from conception.
Wow.
There are like a few tiny exceptions, but basically only if the mother's life is in immediate danger.
Huh. So then what counts as immediate danger, right? That's got to be confusing for everyone, for women, for doctors.
Exactly. And that brings us back to Danny Math. This wasn't just some, what if for her. At her 20-week scan, they found her baby had an underdeveloped brain, only one kidney, and the spine was malformed, putting pressure on the heart. Tragic, right?
Yeah.
The baby wasn't going to make it, and, this happens, sadly. But with SB 8, Danny had no options in Texas. No exceptions for fetal abnormalities.
Even though, you just said.
Yeah.
The baby wasn't going to survive.
Right. And think about this. She's a med student, almost a doctor herself.
Wow.
But she couldn't get the care she needed in her own state.
It makes you wonder, right? Like, what are doctors supposed to do if they can't even, talk about all the options?
And this article, it talks about how doctors are afraid to even say anything.
Really?
Yeah, they're afraid of being sued.
Oh,
so they don't even talk about it. So Danny ended up having to go to New Mexico, paid in cash to, not leave a paper trail.
Oh, wow.
So secretive, right?
Yeah.
And so many women are having to do that now.
It's like going back in time almost to before Roe.
Totally. And she joined this lawsuit with 19 other women who all had similar problems.
Okay.
But here's the thing. They weren't trying to overturn the abortion bans.
Huh.
Interesting.
They wanted to clarify the exceptions.
Oh, okay.
Like for severe fetal abnormalities.
So more guidance for women and doctors.
Yes.
When they're facing these, impossible situations.
Exactly. The Texas Supreme Court rejected their case.
Wow. So that's a big loss, legally speaking, for anyone who wants to, broaden those exceptions.
Yeah. And then it's like maybe because of that lawsuit, Texas did add a couple more exceptions, like for ectopic pregnancies and premature rupture of membranes.
Okay. But that doesn't cover that much, right?
No. It's estimated to be like 5% of pregnancy.
5%. So most women with these complications, they still have no options in Texas.
Typically. That 5%, it really shows you how limited those exceptions are. Think about all the things that can go wrong in a pregnancy. This law basically ignores almost all of them. So women have to make these huge decisions with like no legal options.
Yep.
It's a lot to process, really. And it's not just, women looking for abortions who are affected. It's the whole healthcare system in Texas. Doctors are like caught in the middle.
Yeah, the article talks about this Dr. Emily Briggs, family medicine physician in Central Texas. How are these laws affecting her work?
Well, she talks about like this fear, this uncertainty. Before all this, she could just, talk to her patients about all their options, give them advice based on, just their medical needs.
Right. But now?
Now, even mentioning abortion is like risky.
Yeah.
Doctors in Texas now have to like check with lawyers to make sure they're not breaking the law.
Wow. So they can't just, focus on what's best for the patient. They're worried about being sued.
Exactly. And that hesitation, that fear, it can cause delays in treatment. sometimes until it's like an emergency, until the woman's life is in danger.
Oh, God.
Dr. Briggs calls it dangerous and frustrating. She's like forced to go against her own medical judgment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be a nightmare for everyone. What about maternal health in Texas? Like overall?
This is where it gets really scary.
Mhm.
The CDC data shows that maternal deaths in Texas went up 61% between 2019 and 2021.
61%.
Yeah. And nationally, it only went up 8%.
Wow. That's a huge difference. Is it because of these abortion laws?
It's hard to say for sure, but experts are definitely worried about the connection. Limited access to care, doctors being afraid to treat patients, delays in treatment. It all adds up.
So it's not just about abortion, it's about women's health in general, their safety.
Exactly. This isn't just a debate anymore. It's having real consequences. And sometimes those consequences are fatal.
So Texas is like a warning sign almost, right? For the rest of the country.
The article says that, yeah, since Roe v. Wade was overturned, lots of states are doing similar things.
So it's not just a Texas problem.
Definitely not. This is something everyone needs to pay attention to. It's happening everywhere.
It's like a domino effect, one state after another.
And it's not just states either. This is happening at the federal level too.
Right.
Both sides are fighting hard to either protect abortion rights or get rid of them.
Yeah. It feels like a turning point, for the whole country.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important for everyone to be informed, to get involved, no matter what they think about abortion personally.
It's more than just having an opinion. It's about understanding how complicated it all is. The laws, the real-life impact on people.
The article really makes you think about the long-term consequences. It asks, how far will these restrictions go before they cause even more harm?
That's a tough question. And it makes you wonder, will we see even stricter laws? Will it be even harder to get a safe, legal abortion? What will all this mean for women's health, for the relationship between doctors and patients, for our whole society? I mean, it's a lot, right? We started with Danny Math's story, then all the legal stuff in Texas, and now, the whole country. It seems like it's always just, pro-choice or pro-life.
Yeah, you're right. It's way more complicated than that. This article, this whole conversation, it's about showing that. The real world is messy. It's not black and white.
Yeah. Women having to make these impossible choices. Doctors not knowing what to do. The whole healthcare system is, struggling.
And everyone's fighting about it.
Right.
It's easy to get lost in all that noise, the arguments, the politics. But what we're trying to do here is bring it back to the people, their stories, what they're going through.
Right. Like Danny Math, having to travel to another state for care.
And Dr. Briggs, trying to be a good doctor.
Yeah.
But the laws are making it so hard.
And then those maternal death rates in Texas. It's scary.
It really is.
So much to think about. And as we finish up here, what can we do? How do we move forward in a way that, respects everyone's beliefs, but also make sure women are safe and healthy?
That's the big question, isn't it? I don't have all the answers. But I think we need to keep learning. Talk to each other, really listen, try to understand different viewpoints.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes to even hear the other side.
Especially on this issue.
But if we want things to change, we got to talk.
We have to. And, you don't have to be an expert to make a difference.
Right.
Everyone's voice matters.
So stay informed.
Talk to your friends and family. Call your representatives. Support organizations you believe in.
Yeah, do something. The article ends with this question, and I think it's a good one for all of us to consider. How far will these restrictions go before they cause even more harm?
It's tough, right? But it's important. We got to keep talking about it and actually do something. That's it for our deep dive today. Thanks for listening.